jumping. A worthy world champion.
So easy, so powerful, quite amazing. World champion 2014, Simone Biles.
Perfectly in time, top of the world yet again. Absolutely phenomenal.
Simone Biles, yet another world gold medal.
Girls run the world. That one certainly does. That's Simone Biles. I'm sure Beth Tweddle would agree, because a definite pattern is emerging in Doha at these World Gymnastics Championships. If it's a men's event, it's likely to go right down to the wire. If it's a women's event, you can almost bet that a certain Simone Biles is going to run away with it, and she could handspring her way to yet more history today as she goes for a fourth all-around title. And Beth, like everybody else in the sport, is going to be counting every twist and turn that this awesome American makes today. But speaking of twists and turns, there's been certainly a little bit of that in the career of Simone Biles. I'm sure you remember her 4 gold medals at the Rio Olympics in 2016. After that, she took a career break. She relaxed, she kicked back, and she even donned the sequins for America's version of Strictly Come Dancing. But at the grand old age of 21, Biles is back, arguably even better and more powerful in the gym than ever before. Only this time she's back with an even more powerful and influential voice at a time of terrible scandal in US gymnastics.
Everybody thinks, you know, you go into the Olympics and you work that year, but really you've been training your whole life, and then the 4 years before the Olympics is very important. Once it comes down to the Olympics, gymnastics is almost the #1 watch sport, so they don't see the come up as the really big fans of the gymnastics world watch us from since we were young, and then they watch the build up, and everyone thinks we're overnight sensations, but we've been working our whole life for it.
What did you find the toughest thing about returning?
I think getting in sync with my schedule again and getting used to it, because since I've done it for such a young age, I don't realize how much time I spent in the gym because it's all normalized for me after a while. And so now it's like, wow, I have to do recovery. I have time to do this. Like, you don't really have time to do other things. And I think we forget that because we eat, sleep, breathe gymnastics before that, and then took a year off and I got to do so much stuff. And now, you know, you have to decline invitations and all of this stuff. And I was like, wow, I did that all my year off and now I can't do any of it. But it all pays off, so it's worth it.
You took a decision at the Nationals to wear a teal leotard.
Yes.
Just tell us why you did that.
Yes, because teal is a survivor color for sexual abuse victims. And I think it was very important to support the fellow gymnasts that it had happened to, and to just speak up for what you believe in. And I hope I gave them courage to come out and tell their stories one day if they want to. I figured if I can tell my story, then it might encourage other people to tell theirs, because a lot of people do look up to me. So they're like, if Simone can be strong enough, hopefully I can too. And that's kind of the message that I wanted to give. But I was kind of relieved when it came out. And it was a lot of pressure off my shoulders, because to keep something in like that for so long, whenever we usually share everything with our friends, our family, and our fans, was a lot.
Do you think what you all went through will mean that things are changing for the future and that US gymnastics will change?
I think it has to. They have no other choice, basically. But speaking out is the first thing that change will happen.
Do you think you'll ever be able to top what happened in Rio, or was it just different experiences? You want to sort of experience different things?
Definitely experience different things, because 4 years apart is a really long time. And for my first Olympic Games to walk away with 5 medals, I think is kind of unbeatable even for myself. So we'll just go in there with an open mind and see what happens.
Natalie Perks asking the questions there. What an amazing woman. You know, Beth, a piece in the USA Today newspaper yesterday said, taking a year off and needing less than a year to be even better than before, that's unbelievable. That's Simone Biles. Where do you stand on that?
It is incredible. I mean, for most gymnasts, they know what it's like when you take 2 weeks holiday. It takes like a month, 2 months to get back to your full fitness. So to take more than a year out and be back within less than a year, and even better than what she was, and she's unbelievable.
She is. She revealed in January that she was amongst hundreds of women who were abused by former US team doctor Larry Nassar, who's been sentenced to over 300 years in prison. This has been a really awful time in your sport, not least for all of the women involved. It's still a huge mess. But as a role model, how influential has she been as the continuing fallout from this scandal?
I think she's having huge influence. I mean, the fact, like we saw in that video, she wore the teal leotard. She feels that if she speaks out, then it is going to give other people courage. And she is a role model to thousands of people out there. And hopefully it will give them the courage to speak up. And obviously, within USA Gymnastics, they need to make changes. And by her saying the first thing is us speaking out, and they've got no other option but to make those changes. And
she's wearing the teal leotard today.
She is.
Everybody, yeah. This is all the more amazing that the scandal hasn't derailed her ambitions, as we see her just warming up today. Biles going for history today. A fourth all-around world title will move her away from Svetlana Korkina, who you know well. You competed against her. But how do gymnasts feel about competing against Biles here? She is so dominant. It must be dispiriting.
Yeah. I don't think it is, because when you're in the training hall, you just you see her and you admire her. You know how much she has trained and how amazing it is for the skills that she's doing. So people actually stand back and watch her in the training halls and admire the courage that she has to do the skills that she's doing.
So inspiring rather than dispiriting. Good to hear. Well, less than 500ths of a mark, Beth, in the two men's finals that we've seen before have separated the gold medals in both of those events, including yesterday in the men's all-around final. If you shared this with us, it was wonderful stuff. And in fact, the gold medalists from Russia, Arta Dalaloyan, and China's Zhao achieved the same overall score. And remember, the marks are down to 1,000th of a mark after 6 pieces of apparatus, and they could only be separated on countback. It was hugely enjoyable. But Simone Biles qualified for her all-around contest 4.5 marks ahead of anybody else, including the defending champion Morgan Hurd of America. And get this, only 4.3 marks separate the remaining 22 qualifiers. I think that rather underscores how far ahead she is. And how is she doing it then?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, as a gymnast, you have to make that decision. Do I go more difficulty and risk the risk, or do I hold back and just perform it perfect? But she is able to do both. And we see her in training. She posts quite a lot of videos, and she's actually competing below the level that she's able to do. And I think that's why she's able to get that combination of difficulty and execution.
OK, well, it's not all about Simone Biles today. From a British perspective, our women didn't make the team final, but 2 have qualified for today's all-around final. It's the Ellie and Kelly show.
I was in the mindset, OK, I'm just missing Worlds and I'll be back. And then it kind of turned into the next major and the next major, and which is even more annoying. And even now it's a little bit frustrating. Like, I'm happy to have qualified for the all-around final, obviously, but I'm not where I want to be. So it's nice that I can go out and just compete with not really any pressure on myself, because I'm not expecting any placings.
From injuries, you just never know what's going to happen. You never know how long your body's kind of going to hold out for. And this was a long year anyway, so I didn't know, whether I could cope with it all. So yeah, as I said, just taking 1 week at a time, 1 day at a time this year, and just to be here now I'm just so happy.
My floor, I'm making sure all my tumbles are landing forwards at the moment, just so I don't have any short landings. So I'd put a new tumble in, which was handstand double front, I competed that for the first time yesterday, so that was good. Beam is still a bit shaky, and I don't have like my Arabian in, and I have some other upgrades that could go in as well.
No, I just want to really enjoy the all-around final, try and improve on my performances if I can, but just have a lot of fun and produce 4 consistent performances. I've really enjoyed doing floor out here at the moment. We've really worked on the artistry and the landings and things like that. And I'm also hoping to clean up bars a bit more from qualifying.
Yes, we've got Kelly Sim and Ellie Downey going for Great Britain, and we're seeing live pictures now, and there is the woman of the moment. That's Simone Biles, as I was saying, with the teal top to the leotard there, and it's 4 pieces of apparatus for the women. Don't forget, 24 competitors will all perform on each of them, and at the end of it we'll probably count out how many marks Simone Biles is ahead of them, or maybe not, because it is live, it's sport. Regardless, I think, Beth, of what happens today, it's going to be quite a story in the Aspire Dome today. Just fill us in a little bit about the degree of difficulty and, in essence, how Simone Biles does this? Is she doing more skills, more difficult skills more often, in effect?
She is. She has upped the difficulty. It'll be interesting. We've just seen her there doing the warm-up on vault, and she's doing the 1.5. Whether she'll go for that double today, but with that double she might risk either a step or a fall, whereas with the 1.5 she knows she can spot that landing and not take the execution deductions. So she's raising the bar, raising the boundaries of the skill level, but she's also performing it unbelievably well.
We see Mai Murakami of Japan, who was very close to an all-around title last year. But let's get into it then. It's the women's all-around final, and we'll say good afternoon to Craig Heap, Christine Still and Alison Mitchell.
Thank you, Hazel. Full of anticipation for this women's world all-around final. And it is the vault where the top group of gymnasts start, including, of course, Simone Biles. But Mai Murakami of Japan came 4th in the all-around at the Worlds last year in 2017 in Montreal. And she will start off this blue ribband event. Craig, over to you on vault.
Well, she did so well in qualification. 5.4 difficulty. No problem there. The double twist in Yurchenko.
Well, probably the most popular vault for the female gymnasts in this level of competition. You need a big, difficult vault. We have seen a few gymnasts over the years do a 2.5 twist off the top, but a very clean double twist there. Beautiful flight. You can see she has her hand slightly turned out on the top of the platform and blocks with straight arms, absolutely down the middle. Little deduction for that hop back, but her execution score, her E score, should be pretty high.
And for Japan, hosting the Olympics in 2020, we saw her on the banner there, there'll be much excitement for what Murakami could do on her home turf. She did compete in the Olympics at Rio and finished a very credible 14th there, but yeah, shooting up the rankings in 2017.
Yeah, she's the definite leader of the team from Japan.
And 14.566, so starting strongly on vault. Now, Morgan Hurd is the reigning world all-around champion. We heard Hazel talking about Simone Biles having that break in 2017 after Rio, so she wasn't at the last World Championships, and instead, dynamic young gymnast took over her crown.
So opening on the vault, all the top qualifiers opening on vault. Lovely double twist from Morgan Hurd. Very little to differentiate between these double twisting Yurchenkos. They're all beautifully performed. The flip onto the platform means they can come on low and rock it off.
Yeah, a good Yurchenko with a double twist, around about 14.5. Maybe that was a fraction better, but I mean, we are talking fractions. Look, there you can see blocks, wraps in, 2 twists, no problem whatsoever. And as Christine was saying, it's quite a common vault in this level of competition. We have seen over the years 2.5 twists generally from the Americans that really push up that extra half turn.
And we probably will in vault final see some of those, but for an all-round gymnast, if you can do a good, efficient double twist, then you're competitive at the top in the world.
Well, she managed 14.6 in qualifying. Morgan Hurd, a dynamic gymnast. But all eyes on Simone Biles, bidding to become the first gymnast in the women's all-around to win 4 world golds. 14.6, so matching her score in qualifying, and she goes above Mai Murakami at the start of this competition. It's the first piece of apparatus of 4 for these gymnasts. Now, we'll be keeping an eye, won't we, on the vault. There we go, 6.4, so that means she's going for the big one.
Going for the Biles, that's right. This is the vault that she's performed competitively for the first time in the world. It's been named after her. She did it in qualification, but didn't use it in the team final. Just watch the power. The precision, the half turn on, the double twist off, and that's why she didn't use it in the team final. Well, we reckon she'd got 4 lives here. She's used 1.
That's the first shock of this competition.
I was going to say that actually it's quite a surprise, because I can't see the reason not to do that in this competition, being so far ahead with the 1.5 twist. She only really needs it for the vault final, but this is such a difficult vault. Round off, half turn into the handspring, wraps in for the straight front with a double twist, and just didn't have the block that we've seen. Look, you can see there blocks. I think maybe we're a little bit late on the top. You can tell with the length of the vault it was quite long, so you generally lose a bit of height for length.
In fact, this hand, the left hand, slid a little bit along the top. If you watch, she got a good contact with the right hand, but the left hand was a bit turned in and slid. And you've got to be so precise on that first flight, especially when it has a half turn. Well, now.
Well, you could almost sense an intake of breath in the arena, because albeit it's an upgrade, she's been working on this, it's the year out, but people still just expect her to be perfect on these skills.
I wouldn't be surprised if it still doesn't score one of the highest, because it's so difficult. 6.4, you're looking, she's got a mark advantage on all the other double twists, so that's a fall in itself.
And it's just that shift, isn't it, between big on difficulty versus big on execution.
Watch this hand, this side. It just slid along the top, and when we saw the slow motion replay, you could see it wasn't planted cleanly on.
Well, the judges give it 14.5. So in terms of the vaults, it's certainly not what she would have hoped for. She's the Olympic champion on this piece of apparatus as well. But those watching will think, well, okay, maybe she's not completely perfect after all. As I said, she's got a big lead. Now, next up on vault then, Elizabeth Black, Ellie Black from Canada.
Second in the all-round, 2017. Strong vaulter. Wraps in the handspring straight front with a full turn. Good opener.
That's a really tricky vault. You don't see many of the women gymnasts vaulting the handspring type vault. But there she is with her coach, David Kikuchi. She trains in a predominantly men's gym, boys' gym. There's the handspring, snaps the shoulders up, makes the full twist. Very well performed, and it's a difficult vault. They're all difficult vaults, but this is quite blind on the landing. Really does it well.
5.4 on difficulty. So the most she could score is 15.4. Obviously, you could see on the slow-mo a little splitting of the legs on the way on, which the judges probably take, well, quite a big split, 3/10, I would imagine. But certainly will do her campaign no harm at all.
She was the world silver medalist in the all-around last year, Ellie Black. 14.4, sitting in just below Simone Biles for vault, and that solid 9 on execution. Not quite getting up into the 9-point-somethings. Now Angelina Melnikova of Russia.
Well, Melnikova, the really classy, beautiful Russian gymnast. Powerful as well. Sometimes a little suspect under pressure. Oh, as you can see, a big hop back. She did very well not to sit that down, but she vaulted really high. You know, she gave it that extra bit and just didn't quite trust herself to float down. Took the big hop backwards.
Yeah, Christine, she did very well, actually, not to roll over there. Certainly give it plenty off the top. There you can see blocks in, wraps in for the double twist. Hips slightly behind the feet, so the centre of balance is out of line. You can see from the side here as she lands in that bit of a pike position, so that's going backwards and had to take the big hop. But just looking in the warm-up, she under-rotated slightly, so I think psychologically thinking I have to give it a little bit more. Did very well to control that.
She did indeed. The slow motion showed you how she piked down, and she really did not need to pike down. That's what I say. She's a little bit suspect under pressure. I mean, I've seen her compete this vault for 3 years at least since Rio, and just doubts herself a bit.
Yeah, 14.166. That's remarkable, the scores, when you consider Simone Biles had such big difficulty. And with the big mistake, and the difference between first and third is still only relatively small because of that big difficulty she's got. But Nina de Waal of Belgium came 8th in the world last year, up-and-coming gymnast, 18 years of age.
Well, this is not a favoured piece of apparatus for Nina. They're just a, I want to say, simple full twisting straight Yurchenko. Like we say, we have lots of our junior girls in Britain performing that vault. It's not a favoured piece of apparatus.
But she's really a bar specialist. She's qualified top by quite a long way on bars. And of course, she just really has to make the other pieces quite good to match with the big bars score. But it's very clean. Her execution will go high. But if you think that this is a 4-6 difficulty, as opposed to the double twist being a 5-4, so it's almost a mark less in difficulty. And really what has happened here is that by Biles falling, she's brought herself back into line with everyone else.
Well, we're going to move on to floor before we can bring you Nina de Waal's floor vault score. That's the European bronze medalist, Axel Klinkart.
And this is quite an unusual floor routine. Oh, heel went down early on that spin. Quite theatrical. Here comes the tumble as well, lovely double straight. There's the forward element into a big high double back. Clean high leaps. Lots of marks given for artistry and showing a theme on a floor routine. Wow, big final tumble, full twisting double pike. In fact, not final tumble, third tumble. Here comes the final tumble. Double pike somersault. Well, certainly a very different routine, full of drama, full of expression, and full of good tumbling as well.
Well, they'd have been loving that at Hogwarts, wouldn't they? But Craig, will the judges have fallen under her spell?
Well, I think so. It was so creative as well, and we talk about selling the performance. The look of the eyes, look there, of glancing at the judges, and powerful tumbles as well. The double straight, third tumble, full twisting double back in the pike position. But I like the dance. It was very expressive. There's the front walk out. Steps up, round off flick, into the double back somersault. Plenty of height, chest well up on landing. So that's what the judges are looking for.
This was the one tumble that would have got deductions because you could see the chest was down there.
She did really well, actually, not to buckle her knees, to touch the floor. It's amazing what a bit of adrenaline can do.
On the vault, 13.566, and reflected really then in a low difficulty, low start value of 4.6 for Nina de Waal on vault. Well, all the leaders have now gone on vault. Chance to look at beam. Of course, the big story so far that Simone Biles didn't land her vault cleanly. Over onto the beam, a nervy piece of apparatus. Poise and calmness is required. Denisa Golgota of Romania.
And of course, Romania over the years renowned for wonderful beam work. But that, as you said, Ali, was a very nervy start. Part of a new generation of gymnasts from Romania and looking very promising, performed much better at this World Championships than they have for several years. but not quite the composure. She's had some interesting work so far. Good acrobatic series, gets herself under control. It's a shame because it was a lovely dynamic leap to mount, and she's very powerful. That front somersault was really high. You have to land again, but every move almost a little wobble. Forward and backwards and sideways elements performed there. The free cartwheel, you can almost see the wobbly legs where she's not quite got the muscles under control. Such a shame, because for every move she's done, if the move is worth 0.4, she's probably lost 0.5 in wobbles, so she's starting to be down in negative to the judges. Good split. Those are the two leaps. You have to join two jumps, and she'd wobbled around earlier and hadn't managed that. But she's got to the end without a fall. Super double back dismount. I'm sure a gymnast we're going to see a lot more of in the future, but that score will be low, I'm afraid.
Yes. She's only 16 years of age, isn't she, Craig? And yeah, you could literally see the ankles and the lower calves wobbling.
You could certainly see a lack of experience within this performance. I mean, Romania have really not shown for the past good few years where we've had world and Olympic champions on this piece of apparatus, and the new breed have certainly a lot of work to do.
Each move individually was technically really quite good. She just doubted herself so much. That mount was beautiful, and then she sort of just got jelly legs and couldn't control the middle. Beam's all about a strong core and a strong brain.
I was going to say the mind over matter, certainly on that piece of apparatus, and I'm sure we'll see a lot more of it.
Axel Klinkert, that Harry Potter themed floor routine, 12.8.
See execution down in 7-7. Once you have a big mistake like the big step forwards in the middle, it really can be very costly.
And our first look at the uneven bars in this competition. And Lu Han of China made the final of this individual piece of apparatus at the Worlds last year. What can she do here to start her all-around campaign?
The Chinese gymnasts are renowned for their beautiful, elegant bar work. It's sometimes a little inconsistent, but working very well so far. Look at the locking out in the handstand. Nice full turn into the invert swing, full turn again. High into the pike, front somersault, the Jaeger salto. And again, 1.5 turn. Winds up, good routine, just needs a good dismount. High into the double layout. Well, that's a good solid start from the Chinese gymnast.
Yes, that was good, classy work, wasn't it? Lovely straight arms on all the elements on the bars.
And a 14.4 for Lu Han. 6.0 difficulty in her routine. Actually, the Chinese, as they moved through the team competition, weren't noted for their high degrees of difficulty, particularly on the floor, wasn't it? It'll be interesting when we get to that piece.
Yes, they looked like they played the game of playing safe.
Right, Ellie Downey. She starts her all-around campaign on bars. She's had a torrid time with injuries, making her way back in these World Championships.
Very important first element here, forward sole circle turns, up to the high bar, now links this straight into a big, clear Kachev. It's a really powerful routine, this. Lovely pirouette, another Kachev on the way, pike this time, down to the low bar. Come on, Ellie, keep it clean. Half turn, beautifully performed. She's fulfilled all the requirements, just needs the big dismount now. Winds up, here it comes, double straight. Great start for Ellie Downey. It's not the piece she finds the easiest, and she'll be highly delighted with that performance.
Terrific way to start the campaign. Such a difficult journey back from injury, disappointment after disappointment, having to miss more major championships than she would have wanted, Craig.
Absolutely, but it's all about getting back into this high-level competition. There you can see the pike Kachev straight down onto the low bar, the pike salto. A little bit short on that handstand just before the shap, but the rest of it, I mean, this is a big dismount for such a tall gymnast, the double layout. But what a real start for Ellie.
Yes, in qualification, she got through the routine, but it was a bit of a battle, so that should be much better. And she really has power on this apparatus. She can really lift high off the bar. Her releases are very exciting.
As you mentioned, this is not her strongest piece, not her favoured piece, so if she gets a good score here, it's going to lay a fantastic platform for her to move through the rest of the competition.
Yes, Ellie, very, very powerful on floor and vault. Those are her two pieces, but of course, they're the two she's been able to practice the least with an ankle injury. So bars, she has managed to keep working through the injury time, but here we see the American boys watching, supporting the ladies.
Looks like they're going to be interviewed as well. He's going, I don't want to speak, pass it.
Something that you would never have done, Craig, sitting in an
I'd be
auditorium.
grabbing the microphone.
You can see just to the side of Ellie, Valerie Lukin.
Oh, 13.9 for Ellie Downey. And it's not quite as good as the score she... oh, God, beg your pardon. She has improved her score on qualification in bars, so she will be pleased with that. And, yeah, it looked like a really solid start. Well, this was a shaky beam routine for the Romanian and reflected in that score as well.
You can see the execution down in the sixes. Even without a fall, every move had a wobble. So, yeah, that was costly. No, for Ellie, she'll be very happy with that. That was a much better score.
And like you say, Christine, with that beam, every skill she did, she nearly lost as much by doing it. And that's one of the difficult things around this quarter points is there's no point doing things if you're going to take the deductions.
Well, gymnasts getting ready to move across to the second piece of apparatus. We'll be able to let you know exactly how the leaderboard looks in this world all-around final. And we'll also have a look at see where Kelly Sim is lying as well after her first piece of apparatus. Oh, leading the way, Morgan Hurd, the reigning champion, because Simone Biles didn't land her vault. Mai Murakami, but that margin is so very, very slender. You would expect Simone Biles to shoot back up. Ellie Downey in that top leaderboard, sitting in 8th place at the moment. As we move through the middle order, Melanie Dos Santos, an exciting gymnast. Look forward to seeing her perform a little bit later on, I'm sure. And Kelly Sim lying in 23rd place at the moment. She began on beam, but she did have a fall and it had a score of 11.533. But the big story from rotation number 1 was Simone Biles not quite making her vault.
Absolutely, and in fact, Alison, just to underline what you were saying, we can quickly have a look at Kelly Sim's beam routine here, and there was a problem in the middle of it, Beth, and I guess horrible memories come flooding back for her of the Commonwealth Games and the all-around. Same situation, a fall from the beam here. She did obviously go on to win a team silver and a beam bronze in the end, but just assess this performance from Kelly's point of view.
Yeah, beam is always the hardest to start on. It's hardly any room for error, and she does have a very difficult skill that she uses called the full twist. There we see it, and she was just, her feet were not straight to the beam, which obviously put your hips and everything out of line, so she couldn't quite save that one. And now it's a case of pick yourself back up and continue with the routine. She's got plenty of experience competing at major championships.
And how do you compose yourself after a fall? Because clearly your mind is going 10 to the dozen out there. What do you have to tell yourself to do here?
Do you know what? You kind of let your body go into autopilot. These gymnasts, they do so many routines day in, day out, and they perfect it in training, so they will know what to do when they get back up here. You can see her using the somersault series with the flick layout, which was very solid. So other than that fall that she's done so far, it's been a really good routine. The full spin that you have to show just has the little wobbles here and there, and that's where the judges obviously will be taking the deductions, but uses the round off into the double back and a great landing there. So it was a real shame that she had that fall on the full twist at the beginning.
Nevertheless, it's still a breakthrough day for Kelly because this is her first global all-around final, and she'll be moving on to floor next. Meanwhile, Ellie Downey, the European all-around champion last year, positive start, up by something like 5/10 from her qualification.
Yeah, so a really good start for Ellie. Not necessarily one of her favoured pieces, but she's really improved on this apparatus in the past few years. Got a great double straight that you're going to see at the end, but all of her releases have got great amplitude. She's catching on straight arms, and she's started to link elements a lot more, so it's bringing the difficulty up for her. So a great score to start her championships.
OK, well, the top group will be moving on to bars next, and it's not the leaderboard that we had anticipated. It's Hurd from Murakami from Biles in third. And a quick word about the fact that Biles went for it and it didn't come off for once.
Yeah, so unfortunately she did go for it, which it's great for our sport to see that actually she's not holding back. She's showing everyone that you have to go for the big elements. But unfortunately, as she sat up to do the double twist, she just didn't have enough rotation, and that's why she landed short and just sat down on her bum at the end.
OK, well, let's get back. We'll see Kelly Sim on the floor. Ellie Downey's moving on to the beam, and as I say, Group 1 with the top names on bars now. Craig, Christine, Alison, back to you.
Yeah, so bars, looking forward very much to seeing Nina Derwal's performance on bars. She's got a fabulous routine, Christine, hasn't she? Packed with difficulty.
She has. She's European champion, and really over this year, at all the variety of competitions, she's posted the biggest scores this year. So she's the gymnast to be beaten, as it were.
She will have a little while to wait before her bars routine.
You can see each of the gymnasts get 30 seconds to warm up. They'll have that well choreographed. They'll try and cram in about 4 moves in their 30 seconds.
Lu Han is the first gymnast to compete on beam. We saw a very nervy beam routine from the Romanian in the first rotation, Denisa Golgota, but Lu Han, she is 18. In her second World Championships, though, you would expect her to have a little more handle, perhaps, on the nerves. She is a 2-time Chinese national champion, although suffered actually a nasty leg break before the Olympics and missed the chance to compete at Rio. Just explain these markings on the beam, Christine.
Well, the gymnasts dismount with a round off or maybe a backflip or whatever, and they want to be sure that they've measured out exactly where they start. They don't leave it to chance. They put a little mark on the beam, and that's where they've finished their last move and go into their dismount.
So the second rotation, and Lu Han gets us underway on beam.
Quiet mount. You don't have to count the mount in your difficulty. You count your most difficult 8 moves, but that has to include the dismount, so you have a big dismount. 2 very nice leaps, actually, well joined, so that's one of her requirements out of the way. Chinese gymnasts usually very strong, lovely technique. They keep their hips square to the beam all the time. Big straight somersault, difficult out of the round off, but she had her chest up and she fought to save it well. And lovely free walkover, and she got it into the split jump, not into the 2 jumps. She took a little pause between, and that's where the difficulty score can vary. That's very nice, half turn into forward walkover out, and immediately into that jump with the head right back. Little wobble there, so she's gained some of her difficulty, but probably not quite all of it that she'd have hoped for. Another ambitious jump. The foot has to touch the head to be given full difficulty for that. So now here comes, she'll glance down and make sure she's on the right point for the dismount. Makes the round off right to the end of the beam. Double pike, big step back. But I think China will be pleased with that routine. She limited the problems. She didn't get quite all her connections, but she got a lot of them.
Yep, going for some solidity. Now, Morgan Hurd is leading the way. She's top of the leaderboard after the vault. And she's the first of this top group of gymnasts to go on the uneven bars.
In the bar final as well in a couple of days. Plenty of flight there. Stole the full turn immediately into the Strelokatchev. And again from the Stolder, connecting down to the low bar and back up to the top. Got a nice pace to the routine. Good line in the handstand. Top change. Stoop with the full turn, so more difficult, straight into the full twist dismount.
Oh, and cleverly step back to disguise any step on landing. She's quite a savvy competitor these days, Morgan Hurd.
She's only 17. You learn these things young, don't you, when you're in full-time gymnastics?
You do. I went to Stuttgart with Alice Kinsella for Alice's first World Cup, and it was Morgan Hurd's first World Cup as well. And she was very wide-eyed and doing a lot more difficult work than she is here, but they've honed these routines into the amount of difficulty she needs to score well, but able to perform without deduction, and that was a great performance.
Well, I think some of the mind games in that basically with the coach saying, well, if you go out with these big moves and make mistakes, you might not end up second. That's where it's at.
Yep. Here is Brooklyn Moores of Canada on vault.
And Canada have had a fantastic championships, handspring, pike front somersault with half turn. Good block off the top, drives the feet over. It's a little bit flat off the top. She would have lost marks a little bit for lack of height. By driving the feet right over the top, she ensured the rotation. But that was a good vault. Direction, very nice, good length.
She's got a floor final to look forward to. Canadian contingent enjoyed that. 13.3 for Brooklyn Moores. Not one of the most difficult vaults that we will see.
No, just a 4.6.
Luhan 13.466 on beam. That's a good score. Look at that difficulty.
Good score for beam, but down in the sevens still.
And Morgan Hurd 14.333. So without the other top gymnast to go, she retains top spots, but she is the one they're all chasing. And this gymnast here is the key person chasing. So Simone Biles on bars, qualified second for the individual final behind Nina Derwal. She's got a routine again, packed with difficulty, as we always expect from Simone Biles.
Yep. Won't be the most difficult routine we see, and this is the only piece of apparatus that she's not been a world champion on, so see how she gets on. Straight into work there, the wily kip on the low bar, up to the high bar, great height there in the Strelokatchev. Stoop with a full turn, a little bit late, but connects well into the Strelokatchev, down to the low bar with the pack salto. That's the Shap with the half turn. No problem there. She has a big dismount. Winds up, double twisting, double back. Sticks the landing. Well, she's certainly put that poor vault behind her.
Well done, Simone Biles. It's always a bit of a test, however experienced you are, to get back on the next piece after you've made a mistake. You know, you've got the disappointment of the vault and you have to put it right behind you. But she's got a 6.2 difficulty in this routine, and look, she went for broke. Lovely extension on the releases she caught with full stretch. And what about this dismount? She pulled it in a little bit closer than we've seen. She wasn't quite so well away from the bars, and it was slightly under twisted, but 2 twists in 2 somersaults is a pretty tall order. And see, the feet were pointing to the judges. Not dead straightforward, covered it very nicely at the end.
Well, she has the champion's mentality, though, doesn't she? You've got to be mentally strong in order to win the number of golds that she has. And she was a 10-time world champion before coming into this, and already now has another one in the team gold. So we have a look at vault and Lara Mori of Italy.
Well, another 4.6. So again, quite a simple foot twist in Yurchenko, and didn't block very well from the top actually. Quite an unusual run up. And blocks in there, full twist, no problem with the alignment. But certainly could have done with a little bit more height for such a simple vault.
She's a very experienced gymnast, isn't she? So 4th world, 13.4 on vault for Lara Mori.
And Italy have not been so confident this championships. They've got very good juniors, but which will come up into the senior ranks next year, but this not so powerful at this Worlds.
And this is Chen Yila of China, 16 years of age, so in her first ever World Championships.
The flip on mount looks spectacular. It's one of the more difficult moves. It's credited with D value, so she starts with a difficult mount to add into her score. And now a difficult move on the beam. She handled it well. Coming from the round-off is a twisting move, and into the straight somersault makes it very difficult. Gets her composure. You can see tightening the middle to control the landings. Well joined, the difficult leap and the Corbett flip. Very cleanly choreographed. And a lovely supple gymnast. You could see the head go right back and the foot up to the head. The full spin, one of the moves you have to include to get full difficulty. And she's using this ring position with the head right back well in this routine. Here's the dismount, up it goes, triple twist, one of the most difficult dismounts. That was a good routine and will carry one of the highest difficulty values, we will see.
Very neat work from Chen Yila.
Always such a tricky piece of apparatus to negotiate. You can see there, this is a very big skill. The round off. See how that arm just wavered a little bit, nearly took her off the beam. She did so well to stay on, but there you can see the flexibility in that split. The head's got to go right back, touch the foot. It's a little bit short, but this is a big finish. The round off into the triple twist.
Really nicely performed. It's a difficult move that you get no spring out of the beam, whereas the floor, you've got springs under your feet. The beam is solid.
Simone Biles goes back up to the top, 14.725. Her execution actually just a touch down on her qualifying score, but it is enough to get up above Morgan Hurd. And that's what matters the most for Simone Biles. Back with vaults. And from Hungary this time, Sofia Kovacs.
And opting for the Yurchenko, again, the full twist. Quite disappointing, some of these vaults in the all-round final. We've seen some quite simple full twisting Yurchenkos.
Well, it really is only the top nations that, you know, pull out the double twist Yurchenkos.
13.6, there or thereabouts where she was in qualifying. She was the European silver medalist in the all-around in 2017. So on the European stage, she's right up there. But it's these levels of difficulty, as you said, when you go to the global level.
Yes, and I think Great Britain were 4th on vault. They've got the difficulty. They just made mistakes on bars and beam, really, which cost them. But if you want to be a top 8 nation, you've got to be doing those double twisting vaults, really.
Onto the bars again with Russia and Angeleva Melnikova.
Melnikova's got beautiful lines and technique on bars. Can she put it all together? Lovely straight line there, stoop in and out. Oh, that's good. Straight into the next element and back down again. She's done that very nicely. The half turn, but legs were a little bit split on that half turn. Stoop in and out. with a half turn. When you don't put the feet on the stoop, it makes it much more difficult, and that was a good high front somersault. A bit of an empty move there, the swing half turn, but a lovely full pirouette into a full twisting double back dismount. She'll be very happy with that routine. She got all her connections.
Very elegant looking gymnast.
She's elegant in the way she walks and carries herself. So you could imagine her as a ballerina.
Absolutely. And there you can see just on that backswing, the split of the legs, a little bit on the way down, and then when she transferred back to the top bar, you might see here, there's the shap with the half turn, little bit of leg separation. And one of the handstands in the routine was a little bit short. And as you said, that half turn, Chris, is a bit of an empty swing. And then the full twist in the dismount. But yeah, such a elegant, well poised gymnast.
And really has struggled to get consistency in her work. So although there were little errors there, she will be very happy to have gone through that routine.
Yeah, floor is her strongest. She's got the floor final yet to come to try and bolster her score further.
I was just going to say, it almost looks, when she gets to the end of the routine, it's almost, she's as surprised as anybody else that she's got through. It's a bit of a sigh of relief where you look at the performance of Biles, for example. She finishes and she knows she's done the job, and there'll be nobody more annoyed with herself in that arena than Biles for messing up that vault. She'll be like, right, I'm not happy with that.
And that's why I think it was great to see her come onto the bars, because it's very, very easy as a gymnast, I'm sure you'll agree, Craig, to carry your disappointment from one piece of apparatus to the next, and something you really have to learn quite young to put it behind you.
14.433. That's a decent score. Look at the difficulty value. She's improved on a qualifying score as well, so she will be pleased with that, and you can see that reflected in the smile and the reaction of her coach as well.
Interesting, she's gone down on difficulty and scored more.
Now, the two-time reigning European champion on this apparatus, Nina de Waal of Belgium. This one is packed fun. She actually beat Simone Biles in qualifying as well.
Watch this first move. Feet on, straight body to catch. That's such a difficult move. And now from the stalled, a lovely height with half turn. Now she's linked all those moves, which makes it very difficult. The full turn down to the low bar as well. It's packed with difficulty. She's a tall gymnast, very elegant, just needs to make the full pirouette. She does well, into the dismount, not a flicker. She's been the only gymnast we've seen score into the 15s on bars, and that was a fabulous routine.
Well, did Simone Biles look a little worried then?
Well, like I said, this is the piece of apparatus that Biles hasn't become world champion on, and looking at that performance, if it was on those two routines, this is the best routine by far. You can see the difficulty and the way for such a tall gymnast. I mean, she's probably not that tall, but she looks tall compared to everybody else. But the flight she can get over the bars on the releases, we call this virtuosity, and the originality where she connects the moves. Fabulous.
We'll find out her score shortly, because we're going to have a chance to watch her again. Ellie Dowley, a 2017 European all-around champion. So for Great Britain, after a very solid first piece of apparatus, here she is on beam.
And this really the piece that's very difficult when you're coming back from an ankle injury. As I said earlier, the beam is solid. It doesn't go down as you land on it. So you really have to take the pain and make the landing. Big front somersault here. She's stamped it out. Needs to keep concentrating. She's got the power for the piece, but she's had to work very hard on the suppleness. Those two leaps were well executed. That's her leap series. Changed her calf the second, but this very important. Backflip, lay out somersault. Oh, and she fought very well. She could see she was off. That's her acrobatic series, so we've seen forward elements, backwards, another very difficult move here. Double spin, has to come out at the right time. She does. Little bit of a fight, but she brings it under control. Free cartwheel. She's working very hard, keeping her core strong. Just the dismount. Has to focus, plant the feet on, 2.5 twists. Beautiful finish, lovely landing there. That was a very good performance from Ellie Downey. She's really had to work hard to come back on beam.
Oh, well done, Ellie. Chenile on beam, 14.166. These are the kind of scores that Ellie might be hoping that she's able to execute as well. That was the best we've seen so far in this final from Chenile. But yeah, wonderful finish as well from Ellie Downey. Back with the bars then, and Mai Murakami, she was in the silver medal position after the vault.
Well, not as strongest piece of apparatus, but she does work the bars very well. Stoop on, again, plenty of height there. Into the Ginga somersault, a little bit close. We want a gymnast to catch at full stretch, and again, just being sure she's catching the bar. And again in the straddle Jaeger somersault. Full turn, down to the low bar, back up to the top. Such a compact gymnast. Winds up, full twisting double back. Well, you could see there, she was wanting to be secure on those releases and catching a little bit too close. Christine, what do you think?
Well, she was determined, wasn't she?
Oh, but look at this score, 15.1. And that is an improvement even on her qualifying score. That is massive for Nina Doal. That has really laid down a marker when we get to the individual final, but also just wonder where that's going to put her in the overall standings once we finish this rotation as well. Back with the beam from Brazil, Flavia Saraiva.
Well, I'll let her mount before I say it, but we've seen over the years fantastic work from Flavia on the beam. But it's such a piece that is so unpredictable. That was a very nice start. Oh, how good was that? Solid, that round-off layout. Clean technique on the spin. Relatively easy 2 leaps to be ensure that they're joined. Now here the acrobatic moves that have to be joined as well. The backflip, the layout, somersault, and a second layout, and right off the side. What a shame, you really don't have to do very much wrong to fall off this very, very challenging piece of apparatus. Super high leap. She was a beam finalist in the Rio Olympics, carried the hopes of her country for a medal. Using the ring position, taking the head back. I don't think the foot quite got up to the head there, but now a big focus because she needs a big dismount. Here comes the round off into the double pike. Lovely dismount. She's a very expressive gymnast, and that was such a shame because that would have been one of the best beam routines we'd seen.
Such a shame for Flavia there. Packed with difficulty, that beam routine, like you say, flick, layout.
Oh, Ellie Downey, 12.7, so she's managed to better her score in qualifying. That execution score has been elevated, and she'll be pleased with that for sure, Christine.
Yes, no, that's much better, and she'll gain confidence as the competition goes.
And Mai Murakami, 13.566 for her bars routine. That's not one of the highest that we've seen at all on the bars.
It is a real piece of apparatus to get a good E-score on. The judges are picking up all those little mistakes.
Now on beam, Melanie Diezes dos Santos for France.
Lovely front somersault mount, one of the best gymnasts in Europe at the moment. Very nice pike front somersault. She didn't have a good time in qualification on the beam. But if she can be successful here, she's somebody that can challenge, or floated that layout somersault over. So we've seen good, powerful tumbling. Now we need good, powerful leaps. Those were elegant and well performed. can see the pause of concentrating the leap with the half turn. You have to count at least 3 leaps and jumps, as well as 5 acrobatic elements, so you really have to show a variety on the beam. Good with the half turning leap, just a little deduction for not quite hitting the splits. That's where all the deductions come from on the E-score. The execution score is, of course, from 10, and we've only seen gymnasts at the very best get an 8 in execution, so the eagle-eyed judges are taking a lot away, but she needs a good dismount here. Big pace back, but she gets it. That's a much better performance from Dos Santos.
Well, certainly one of our favourite gymnasts within Europe. Such a powerful gymnast. Pike front somersault start.
Opportunity to watch.
And it's taken a few victims, the beam so far, but no problem here. Looks like a little bit out of line on the round off there, actually. Christine did well to save that dismount as well.
She did. She had her head stuck out and her legs went round.
Oh, but that is a good score in the context of the beam performances that we've seen so far at 13.733. Only Chenila has managed higher than that so far. Still 2 pieces of apparatus to come, though, in this all-around final. And it's Simone Biles there on the right of your screen, who everyone is looking at to see whether she will be able to claim a 4th world all-around title, something that no other female gymnast has ever managed to do. She won 3 of those world golds across the worlds in 2013, 14 and 15. And of course won the all-around at Rio as well, before having a break in 2017. But we saw her put in a fabulous bars routine in the second rotation. Excellent crowd in again, getting into the spirit.
Yes, and you can see lots of support from all around the globe here. Most of the gymnasts who've competed earlier. This, of course, is the sort of open world championships. Huge numbers of teams. It's the one championships any country can enter. And next, only the top 24 nations from this World Championships are allowed to enter next year. And then, of course, the top 12 from there only go to the Olympic Games. So it's the sort of start of Olympic qualification. But you've got anybody who's a gymnastic fan here supporting, enjoying to see the best in the world.
And we've still got individual apparatus finals to come as well, with the championships reaching its conclusion on Saturday. So we wait to find out exactly what the leaderboard is looking like at the halfway stage. And has the normal world order been restored with Simone Biles at the top?
Well, all the gymnasts are allowed a very quick warm-up. You get 1 go, 30 seconds each on the beam, or well, 50 seconds on the bars, 30 seconds on the beam, and on the vault, 2 vaults are allowed, and on the floor it's a combined time.
So Flavia Saraiva's score is what everyone was waiting for, 13.0.
With a fall, that's a pretty impressive score.
Managed to recover quite well. Here we go then, and yes, world order is back. Everyone can rest easy because Simone Biles leads the way from her compatriot Morgan Hurd, the reigning all-around champion. And then Nina Dowell, that massive bars routine into the 15s has propelled her up into the bronze medal position. Ellie Downey has dropped a few places, but she's in 12th. So that was a good effort from her. Still 2 pieces to come. And remember, at Rio, she finished in 13th place in the all-around, and Kelly Sim is in 23rd place on the floor. Yep, she did step out on 1 tumble, 12.466 for Kelly Sim.
Thank you, and interesting to see Nina Dowell moving up into 3rd position, and we have a 3-times world bars champion in our midst, of course. Well, twice actually on this, and once on the floor actually, Beth. But in terms of the style that you see from this Belgian gymnast, how much as a champion yourself do you admire it?
Oh, it's fantastic. The composition of the routine, it's every element is connected. As you can see here, there's just no breaks. So the shorter your routine is, the less deductions. She posts a 6.5, and because she's got literally her 8 skills that she needs, Here you can see the full twisting double back and nails that landing, which we've not seen many gymnasts to do today. So that literally brings up her execution score to only take off 1.4 marks is brilliant on bars.
And it bodes well for the individual apparatus itself, because a bronze medalist in this championship last year, Dewell, she was the first Belgian actually in 100 years to win a medal at a global gymnastics contest. And it's looking very much as though she's going to be right in the running for the gold there.
She is. She's the only gymnast that scored over 15, and I'm sure she'll stick with that same score, with that same difficulty value of the 6.5. So it'll be interesting to see if any of the gymnasts in that final decide to up their difficulty and try and challenge her, but definitely she's pretty much the front runner for it.
Biles fighting back there in the parallel bars, now moving on to beam, and of course we saw a little wobble from her, hand down in the team competition the other day from Simone Biles. And actually Christy made a great point about you can't carry your disappointment or indeed your anxiety into the next piece. Easier said than done, I'm sure, in this context.
Totally easier said than done, but she is a very experienced gymnast. We saw her fight back after that vault, and she looked frustrated on bars and just got out there and did the routine. So she won't be thinking about that team final at all. She'll be going out there with a clean head and knowing what she needs to do. We can see her pacing around in the background, getting ready to go because she's first up. So in that sense, it's going to be good for her. She's not having to sit and watch other gymnasts. She can get her job done.
Okay, it's all about Biles, as it usually is these days. Back we go.
Yep, she qualified in first place for the individual beam final. So she is head of the field in terms of this particular apparatus. And this her penultimate piece in her bid for a fourth world gold.
Well, as with other pieces, her difficulty level is so much higher than many, and this is one reason why. Look, 3 spins on 1 foot, and that fulfills the requirement for a full spin, and that fulfills the requirement for 2 jumps. So she's well underway, and this is a very difficult element, and she didn't quite give it enough. Front somersault with half turn now. She really needs to focus and concentrate, just proving to us all that she's not superhuman. Now, focus, 1 flip, layout, layout, beautifully performed, but you can almost see on her face the disappointment showing through. The 2 leaps. She's done that series very well indeed. She kept it going, even though she was a little under-rotated, but this is what she had the hands down on the other day, front summy. All fights, holds it on, but it was a wobble. Somehow she's not punching the beam on those forward elements quite as well as usual. And she's missed that connection, so the free walkover into the split jump would carry a 0.1 bonus, so the bonuses are going to be down, but this, the big dismount, gives her lots of bonus. 1 flip, 2 flip, full twisting double back, as easy as you like. Well, she really has opened the door a little bit here.
I would say ajar. I don't know about open, but to be honest, I'm watching that routine. Such a confident start there, that triple twist, spin on the 1 foot, and I was thinking, yeah, she's back. But then when she fell off and got back up, you could see the frustration and anger in her face. Not anybody else, herself. She was bitterly disappointed with that. And like you say, fortunately, she's got a massive difficulty and one of the biggest dismounts you'll see off the beam, a full twisting double back.
She didn't really take off properly for that front somersault. You have to, like I've said earlier, the beam's not sprung. You have to take off in a perfectly upright position to use your power, and she took off leaning forward. She didn't really give herself a chance.
Well, it looks like we might go to the floor before we find out Simone Biles' score. It's just so unusual to see her come off, you know, from 2013 World Champs when she first appeared on the global stage. She's used to going through these major finals clean.
And let's not take into consideration the fact that she's had 18 months out of the gym. So that plays a big part of competition experience.
And she won't have quite the same volume of numbers of routines under her belt as she would have done before she took that 18 months out.
Chen Ile on the floor then. We saw a kind of low-key floor performance during the team final.
First opening tumble. Round there on the triple twist, no problems at all with that. It's a bit of control on the spin. A little bit of a step out. Two and a half twist into the punch front. Has to keep inside the floor. Good flexibility there on the leap. Not got the pace of some of the routines that we've seen. Stands up into the double tuck back. Good position with the chest, right up. And that's the leap series. So one of the requirements for the gymnasts. Well, Jane Ely of China there. Not the most difficult, but looked a slight improvement from what we saw the other day.
Very charming, nice routine, and very well landed all the tumbles. I mean, this current system for judging has definitely encouraged you to work within your capabilities, because any steps on landing are so heavily penalised that the gymnasts have really worked hard, and you can see there she really didn't give anything much away. So her execution score should be quite high, but I doubt that the difficulty is much into the fives. And when you're thinking that Simone Biles has got a 6.7, then it's a completely different story, isn't it?
On to vault, still waiting for Simone Biles' beam score. Sasuke Teramoto of Japan.
Really been the backbone of the Japanese team over the years. And a lovely forward twisting vault, handspring, front somersault with 1.5 twists for a very little gymnast. This is a cracking vault. Can see her wrap those 1.5 twists in. It's out of 5.8, so it's one of the most difficult vaults we'll see.
Certainly is, and from the first angle there, we often see a lot of separation of the legs going onto the vault, but there wasn't there. Look at the execution, 8.83 to score 14.633.
And that is the best vault we've seen so far in this competition. Simone Biles, 13.233, with every other gymnast yet to go on beam. They'll now be looking at that score and saying, right, it's over to us.
I would have to probably agree with Craig that the door's only ajar. When you've got a floor routine over a mark better than everyone else's, you can probably afford to go on to floor not in the lead and still come out the winner, but it is a big, major surprise.
But in a way, it makes the Biles story that much more compelling to know that she isn't able to have a whole year out and just smash a world all-around final clean. It is a battle, it is a challenge, it is world sport, all the same.
Certainly making this competition a bit more exciting. We were thinking it's a one-horse race, which it's not.
Yep, 4.9 difficulty, that's the low value, and 13.033. Chen Ile, though, she is in the silver medal position in this very early stage of the third rotation. Angelina Melnikova then to go on bars, part of this leading group of gymnasts. She was in 4th place.
And she stamped that front somersault straight into 2 jumps out very well indeed. But that really was an attempt to change leg ring with the foot just not high enough. Lovely and smooth on the acrobatic series. Well landed layout somersault. Nice technique on the free walkover. She's another gymnast who is very well prepared, keeps those hips beautifully square, meets the beam and lands on it rather than allows the beam to hit her. Elegant. Gymnasts have to keep a rhythm and movement, and she's done that well so far. Every time the feet leave the beam, they should be extended. She's got beautiful extension through the ankles and the wrists and hands. Makes a half turn look simple. She needs to make a dismount look simple as well. Have to be so precise on this foot placement. Double pike, she does. That's one of the best beam routines I've seen from Melnikova in a long time. They'll all be thrilled with that performance. Maybe today's going to be her day.
Well, certainly on the beam. That was as graceful as ever, and I've got to agree, Christine, we've been expecting a performance like this for competition after competition. We know she can perform like this, but just being able to link a full competition together, there you can see shoulders directly over feet on the side somersault, and this is a big dismount into the double pike back. Just that slight, you can see the expression on her face. It's not often she finishes a routine with such a big smile.
Well, they were absolutely thrilled with the performance of their men yesterday, and they're a very good team. The Russian men and women trained together, and it will have influenced her, given her confidence.
Certainly.
Back to vault then. Naomi Visser, she's the penultimate gymnast to go on this apparatus.
Another 4.6 and another full twist in Yurchenko. Should score well on execution, not a lot to take off. You can see quite slight gymnast, so this vault really suits her. Round off, back flip onto the table. You can see the extension in her feet, plenty of time to spot the floor. Solid vault.
13.466 for Naomi Visser. She stays in the top 10 for now. Number of gymnasts still to compete in this third rotation. 4 pieces in the women's all-around. Now, how did Melnikova fare with her beam routine? Is it enough to put her up amongst the medals with 1 piece to go?
She had a 12.866 in qualification, and I think me and Christine were unanimous. That was one of the better beam routines we've seen in a while, Chris.
It was, but a lot of these gymnasts have taken difficulty down a bit on the beam, particularly because the deductions, if you wobble or don't join things, are so great. You know, you really have to do something special to get up into the 8s on execution. So their start values are a little bit lower. They're trying to gain the marks on execution, which I'm sure she has. It just will depend a little bit what her difficulty score is.
You can see Simone Biles there with the coach. Just wonder what's going through her mind. To be thinking, can't wait to get to floor and put in a big score.
Oh, she's looking more pensive than we've normally seen her in an all-around competition.
Yeah, can't wait to get this day over with, I think is probably what she's feeling.
Well, she's got surgery to look forward to. Will she need surgery on the kidney stone when she finishes competition? Has that been talked about yet?
I don't think it's been talked about, but I think they can zap them, kidney stones. I don't think they necessarily have to have surgery. But Melnikova's difficulty in qualification was just 5.1, you see, in comparison to Biles' 6.4. So, you know, she probably won't have gone too much higher than 5.1. She did a few leaps there where she bent the back leg, but the knee wasn't really high enough. So they're having a think about it.
Oh, she's got into the 8s for execution, 13.466, and it is enough for now to put her into the silver medal position. All those below her be looking at that, thinking, right, that's now a score to beat.
Difficulty up and execution, so that was very good.
Smart move.
Now, Nina Dewal, that massive bars, 15.1, got her into the bronze medal position at the halfway stage. She needs to put in a really good performance here to stay up in the medals.
She does, and she was a medalist at the European Championships on beam earlier this year. Securely through 2 difficult elements, the mount, the layout mount, and then the layout somersault. She's a very elegant gymnast, long but smooth and very supple. Beam definitely suits the gymnast with good mobility. Smoothly through the 2 leaps. keeping it moving. Nice split in the handstand. The squat spin. 1, 2, 3. She matches Biles with that. And very smooth in the middle of the routine. Gymnasts have to do some sections close to the beam, and if she can do 3, she can do 2. And believe it or not, you can get credited both times. So she's used that to her full advantage there. It's been very steady, very elegant and smooth. Bit of a different dismount here coming up. Gainer with full twist. That was an accomplished performance. That will do her total score no harm at all.
Yeah, had a very polished air about it from Nina Dowal. Also, we talk about different gymnasts' physiques, and tall and slender on the bar always looks aesthetically pleasing. It's not, of course, the judges are looking at the technical and the difficulty aspects, but it does add to the artistic element.
It certainly does as well, and some of the apparatus, especially bars, it's quite a difficult if you've got long levers to work the apparatus, but when you can work the apparatus and you are tall, it does look very elegant, and that certainly was an elegant performance. She was in 4th place in qualification, so her and her coach will be really pushing, trying to grab every 10th here and there to try and make the podium.
Denisa Golgota of Romania. We saw her wobble an awful lot on the beam. Here she goes on vault.
Well, she can pack a punch. Goes for the double twist. 5.4 on difficulty. Good landing there as well. Probably not the height that we've seen from some of the others, but from a small gymnast, it's really difficult to block off the top. There you can see wraps in. Not too far off the centre.
14.3 for her vaulting. 8.9 execution for Denisa Golgota of Romania.
She's a dynamic gymnast. We'll see more of her in the future, I'm sure.
Where's this routine placed? Nina Dowal of Belgium. She's 18 years of age. It keeps her in the medals, 13.733. Still got 2 gymnasts to come on beam in this leading group. And this is one of them, Mai Murakami, who dropped down the leaderboard after her bars performance.
We saw her look impressive on beam for her team in the team final. That was a lovely change leg mount. A leap on the end with a switch of the legs. What impressed me 2 days ago was the speed of performance. Nice front somersault, that was good. She lifted it. But she has to make this precise, the layout somersault, smoothly. Another good effort on the change leg to ring. Good technique on the free cartwheel. She gets the hips square on landing. The dance out of the tuck front. You can do a tuck front somersault and a pike front. They're both given credit. Same as you can do a tuck back and a pike back. Hasn't quite had the same confident air as we saw 2 days ago, but it's been good, it's been solid, as is the dismount. Well, the nerves, she controlled them well. You train so many years for this opportunity. It's so easy to let it slip away from you.
The beaming smile is saying an awful lot, isn't it, about what she thinks about her own performance.
Certainly, qualified in 3rd place. So a medal is a real possibility. I like the mount, but this, for me, where she was really stable there, the flick, the layout, get those heels, feet down to the beam, shoulders square, arms back. And you can see up onto the toe, bit of pirouette, and a big dismount, double pike back. Just that slight adjustment on landing. Seen some good beam routines. Just to let you know, Kelly Sim of Great Britain scored a 13.9 on the vault. So good vaulting from Kelly there.
Yep, and Ellie Downey was in 12th place after the second rotation. So we'll see if she was on floor, whether at the end of the rotation, whether she's managed to improve her standing. Jade Barbosa on vault for us then. Such an experienced gymnast.
Certainly is, double Olympian. And been a real performer for the team for Brazil. She's happy with that. The double twist in Yurchenko. So 5.4 for difficulty. This is the type of vault I was talking about you really need for this all-round competition. There you can see, wraps in. Not the oldest competitor in this competition, I hate to say, 27 years of age, but the oldest is Oksana Shushavitana.
Yep, we'll see her in the vault final. 14.5 for Jade Barbosa and in 13th so far in the all-around standings. Now, Mai Murakami. Oh, just outside the medals, 13.666. Floor still to come for Murakami, in which she is the reigning world champion. Of course, 2017, the year when Simone Biles wasn't featuring in the World Championships. She sits just outside bronze medal position with still Morgan Hurd, the final gymnast to go on this penultimate piece of apparatus.
And Morgan Hurd emerging really as quite an imposing, confident competitor. Good, strong, full twisting tuck back there. Can almost see her talk her way through this routine. Oh, but the Americans are floundering a little bit. That was uncharacteristic and will be a fall on the apparatus, that. But very nice flip, layout, somersault. Free walkover into the split jump. Good jumps from Morgan Hurd. She's got good elevation off the beam. As you can see there from the change leg leap, quite elegant. These jumps with a half turn and showing a split are given good value. With a little bit of a wobble and hesitation on the spin. We're used to seeing her moving smoothly out. Just a bit of a pause. Always when you've made an error on the beam, it's difficult to keep your rhythm and keep going. But here comes the dismount. She's powerful. This is quite easy for her. Double pike dismount. Makes it look easy, but the damage was done in the middle of that routine. And it's amazing how, when your teammate makes a mistake, it goes through the team a little bit.
Really interesting to see, actually, the Americans, for the first time, are looking slightly vulnerable. And maybe not this competition, but the rest of the world are going to be watching this, thinking we're 2 years away from Tokyo, and maybe they're not just going to be as dominant as we thought. But like you say, that's a big skill, the full twisting, back somersault, and did well. You can see she hopped back on the left leg there to control, but the free cartwheel, having to put the hand down, that'll be a full mark as a fall on the apparatus. And from the qualification, as you pointed out, Christine, she's normally quite pacey during this routine, and once you just have a little wobble, uneases you a little bit, and it knocked her confidence, you could see.
Of course, all those who are in the individual apparatus finals also look at these wobbles and falls we've seen and think, well, that again is a little chink of a door that could potentially open, but it's a fantastic dismount.
Yes, last season we saw her dismounting with a full twisting double back, so that's really quite simple for her. And I think quite a few of these gymnasts have decided to do things that were a little bit more straightforward so that they could try and not give marks away, like a step on landing or chest down are heavily deducted.
And she absolutely stuck it. Simone Biles thinks she's done enough to stay amongst the medals. We'll find out on the floor. It should be an exciting routine from Melanie Dos Santos.
Well, such a very powerful and expressive performer, full of originality, full twisting double back straight, big opener. And full twisting double back. Space on the landing. A completely different tempo to the routine we saw earlier from the Chinese gymnasts. Double single leg spin. All nations will have their choreographers come in and work with the gymnasts. Come up with a routine that suits their personality. There's the front walk out. Did well to stay in the floor. Into the double tuck back. Slight puff of breath. Stands up, no problem with the double pipe back. Well, that was another powerful and expressive performance for de Santov of France.
She just has that ability to make it look effortless, doesn't she? And beautiful shoulder line, makes it all look as though it just comes with ease.
Yeah, wonderful musicality, energy and expression. 13.8 on floor. That is an excellent score. We've only seen one better so far in this final. All eyes there on the top of the leaderboard, and Morgan Hurd's score to see where that will leave the standings after her beam. Of course, the leading pack move on to floor to finish with, where Mai Murakami is the world champion, but Simone Biles has a massive routine, the most difficult in the world. Morgan Hurd, not enough to get her amongst the medals going into the final piece. That execution down at 7.533. So the reigning world all-around champion, is she going to have enough in her to pull it back on the final piece? All eyes will be on Simone Biles. She is leading the way, but not by much from Nina Derwal. Of course, Simone Biles falling on beam, and Angelina Melnikova in the bronze medal position. So it's actually looking much tighter at the top than we ever imagined it would be. Ellie Downey is in 12th place. She stays there, 13.233 for her floor routine. And we'll see where Kelly Sim is. Craig mentioned her vault, 13.9 for Great Britain. Kelly Sim down in 23rd place. But the bid to be the first woman to win 4 world all-around titles is on, just a little closer than we thought.
Well, you're dead right there, Alison, because well, she won qualification. Let's say not won, but she was way ahead in front by 4.5 marks, less than 1/10 of a mark separating Biles and Derwal, and there's 0.426 between Biles and Melnikova in third. And is there a little bit of a glimmer of hope here? We've talked about opening the door, that metaphor, but this is most unlike Biles. In fact, it's probably 2 of the biggest mistakes she's ever made in international competition.
Yeah, I mean, every gymnast has a bad day, and unfortunately today seems to be Biles. What we've got to remember is 6 days ago she was also obviously in A&E, having with a kidney stone, so is that affecting her today? But she's got fight in her. She knows that she's capable of still winning this. She's got a 6-7 difficulty on floor with a huge, huge execution. So she can still win this world title. And obviously Nina Derwal, even though she's sat in second just behind her now, has only got a 4.9 star on floor. So I think it's going to be a real fight between Melnikova, Morgan Hurd, Nina and Biles.
Well, she's proved today she's not infallible, but sometimes true champions have to fight, and she's in one today.
She is a fighter, and obviously she's probably never been in such a close position. Whether she's looking up at the scoreboards, I'm not sure. She is watching the other competitors. We've seen her do that. But she loves floor routine, and I think loves the floor. We'll see her show her personality off now going into this piece of apparatus.
And there indeed is Ellie Downey. We saw earlier on her floor routine, 13.233. She's in joint 12th at the moment. Kelly Sim, I should tell you, is in 23rd, and Ellie will be finishing off, as we can see, on the vault. But it's going to get interesting here, and I suspect that Simone Biles is facing a mental test, the like of which she has not faced in an international competition for a very, very long time. Let's get back to the last rotation that will decide the gold, silver and bronze in this women's all-around contest.
It is going to be a fascinating final rotation, just for the fact, as Hazel mentioned, there is not these acres of daylight that we've so often seen when Simone Biles has been in a world all-around final. But we've got gymnasts on vault to start with, and it will be Simone Biles who will go last on floor. So all will be revealed with the very last gymnast and the last performance of this women's all-around final. She's the reigning Olympic champion. She has her own move on floor as well, the Biles. We know that she has excelled and tried to up the difficulty. Hasn't always paid off so far today, but she is still leading.
The gymnast still warming up here. You get 2 vaults and you're allowed a choice of springboards. So for the coach, it's quite a busy time. Putting a board in, taking it out, another one. You've got a choice of about 3 boards, and you can bet your bottom dollar everyone wants a different one.
And then you've got to put the mat in front for some gymnasts. Oh, it's a hard life being a coach, isn't it, Christine? You want to try doing the gymnastics?
But I'm just meaning that's why they're so slow on the vault warm-up. And that's why we're having to wait to see this first performer.
And waiting in particular because it is Chen Ilei on vault who is sitting at the top part of the leaderboard. She is in 6th place coming into this final piece of apparatus. So it is possible that with a big vault score, she could propel herself higher up the leaderboard.
Certainly finishing on vault, we've seen that change the competition standings in both the men's and the women's. Traditionally scores that little bit higher. Floor is a very difficult piece of apparatus to get a good score on.
Yeah.
We've looked at that. Obviously, if you name Simone Biles, then that's a piece of cake. But for everybody else, this final rotation, we could see the top spot change around significantly.
Look, a real concentration on the face of Chen Ilei at the end of the vault runway.
Depending what vault she'll do, she'll need to have something good if she wants to push up into the rankings.
Here we go then. 4.6 difficulty, so not one of the most complex vaults by any stretch.
Certainly not, so it'll have to be clean. There we go, just the full twist in, Yurchenko. But unfortunately, in a final as close fought as this contest, that won't be good enough to shoot her up from 6th place, I wouldn't have thought. It was clean.
It's quite amazing to think that China, as one of the real powerhouses of gymnastics, are putting out at an all-around final a gymnast simply doing a full twisting Yurchenko like this. I mean, great, she performed it fantastically, but we normally think of them as having loads of depth and lots of gymnasts to choose from.
They've got another couple of years to build towards the Olympics. Would you expect that we would see more difficulty built in over the course of a couple of years?
Well, yes, I would do, but I'm surprised even, I mean, this Worlds is the start of preparation, and most other countries look sort of really quite on it. You know, you can see the preparation starting to push ahead.
Yeah.
It's the Worlds straight after the Olympics that are usually a little bit weaker.
And this is not her first Worlds either. She's in her 2nd World Championships. Here we are then, we're with the leaders, and we are with Angelina Melnikova of Russia, 4th position coming into this final piece. She is the reigning European champion on this apparatus. The question is, does anybody have a routine that could challenge Biles? The answer to that question is no, in terms of the difficulty she packs in. It'll be about getting in amongst the medals.
Melnikova probably has the next most difficult routine if she can do it all and keep inside the floor. That's the big challenge. This lovely classical spin. That's a good bonus to start. But this needs to be strong, but inside the floor area. Round off flip, double straight with full twist, and she manages it. Beautiful split. Another big tumble coming here. Double straight. Oh, and this time the step out. The oh so popular double spin. Elegant, beautiful. Front somersault into double back. Very nicely controlled spin. She's done good leaps, good spins, good tumbles so far. This is the final one. Oh, just a little bounce on that landing. Well, delighted really, just one step out and such elegance.
But it wasn't perfect, was it? It's going to depend a lot on what the other gymnasts do as to whether she can stay up in the medals.
Well, I think the real challenge is for this silver medal, she's 0.2 above Hurd, and actually on floor, she scored a 10th more than Hurd in the qualifications. That's 3/10. She took a step out, which is 0.1. She had a bit of a kickback. Oh, it's going to be very close. But she has got some big tumbles. The double straight with full twist, that was the double layout, just that step out the floor. So that's a 0.1 penalty plus a 0.1 for the step. She really does work close to the edge of the floor area, Christine, on lots of the tumbles. There's only that one there where she's actually within with a couple of feet. You can see the years and years that these gymnasts have spent, especially the Russian gymnasts, in choreography at the ballet bar. It's a very dramatic routine, very dramatic piece of music, and certainly that's what the judges are looking for.
Oh, hoping and praying, hoping and praying.
It's been a good competition for Melnikova though. She hasn't thrown it away.
13.433 on vault for Chenile. Reflected in the simplicity of the vault, really. Staying with vault, Irina Alexeeva.
Well, another 4.6. And again, another full twist in Yurchenko.
So that's both China and Russia putting gymnasts in the all-around final with such really basic vaults. It really is very surprising.
I mean, Christine, you do a lot with the British women, and that's a simple vault. Our juniors have been doing 13.633. It is probably a prerequisite to get into the junior GB team.
Here we go, Angelina Melnikova penalised. She did step out, 13.633 for her floor routine. So really, the others will be looking, saying, we know what we need to do to get in amongst the medals. And Nina de Waal is currently, at the end of the third rotation, in the silver medal position for Belgium. A real trailblazer in Belgium gymnastics. But it's not a floor routine packed full of difficulty.
No, but it is a very elegant routine, so it'll be very interesting to see how this fares. Very expressive. And beautiful height and split on those leaps. Relatively straightforward opening tumble, 1.5 twist, immediate punch front full. Beautiful expressive work right through hands. So we've only had one tumble so far. You have to have at least two. And you have to do a multiple somersault, so there's the double back. Well, a very, very different routine. A beautiful balletic routine. She expressed through her whole body, her face, everything. But just 2 tumbles that were really very basic. It will be a real challenge to see how the judges evaluate this.
We could see her fall down the leaderboard on this final apparatus. Of course, it depends on what the others will do as well, but she occupies the silver medal position coming into this, full of expression, Craig.
I mean, beautiful there on the leaps, but the problem is the difficulty. In qualification, she had a 4.9, and if you think that Biles is going to be coming up with a 6.7, you really need to be in the mid-5s. But it was very expressive, very balletic, and it will score well on the E-score, but obviously that limits to the total score. There you can see the walk out, the 1.5 twist into the straight front full twist.
This routine and Simone Biles' routine show the complete poles in women's gymnastics. One showing the complete power and excitement, and this showing the beauty of dance and adequate tumbling.
And the code of points, I guess you have to say, supports the daring, the brave, for the high difficulty, if you can execute it well, of course. Flavia Saraiva, as we return to vault now for Brazil.
Final piece of apparatus. Such a powerful gymnast. That's more like it. 5.4 in the difficulty. Double twisting Yurchenko. Bags of smiles from this gymnast. There you can see the round off entry. Back flip on. Wraps in. Did well just to stay inside the lines.
14.533 on vault. It puts her up into 4th place with a number of gymnasts still to come in this final. Nina Dowal, 13.3. Now it puts her first. We still have 3 more to come, though, on floor, and they're all big floor performers.
But that's a good score, even the big performers. If you think that's only 0.3 behind Melnikova with all those massive tumbles and good elegance as well.
Oh, look at this. Nina Dowal at the moment is the gymnast to beat, only by, gosh, 0.001. Mai Murakami is the reigning world champion on floor, and she is bidding for a medal here.
And again, completely different style. Oh, and she bounces out of that quad spin. That will be a deduction. Double twisting, double back. Beautiful execution. Another huge tumble coming here. Double straight. Beautiful landings, really confident. Two and a half into full twisting front. That's very difficult combination. Fabulous elevation on the leaps. That's better control on the spin. So no major errors. Here comes this big final tumble, double pike. So secure. Well, this is a challenge for the judges. There's such different styles, these gymnasts, but wonderful tumbling.
Certainly was. And Melnikova will be kicking herself there because looking like she's going to end up just outside the medals. You can see the emotion for Murakami there. Is it going to be enough?
She'll be disappointed with that first hop on that first spin. There we are, look. But probably a 0.3 at least. 0.3
well.
deduction.
I'm going to say did well not to fall over, but the rest of the routine, and you see, we've seen a real mix of floor routines, aren't we, there? And I guess what Ali was saying earlier about, you know, is it all about the difficulty? I would probably say it's about a mixture of the two. You know, you've got to be able to perform big skills, but perform them well. And it's interesting, some of these bigger tumbles, the gymnasts do well at, and then the spins, which look relatively easy, but to spin 4 times on 1 foot is so difficult. This is something you can try at home, but make sure you clear a space in the living room. Don't do it in the kitchen where you've got appliances.
I think that the thing is she's seen people go before and give good performances. She knew she had to do something special.
Oh, so much about risk and reward. Now, Lu Han of China, penultimate gymnast to go on vault here. Let's see what she can come up with.
Well, another 4.6, so I'm going to guess it's a full twist in Yurchenko. And so it is. One of the better ones, actually. Quite good extension from the top. And judges looking for that nice straight shape. So you want to get up into the 9s for execution there. There you go. Full twist.
I shouldn't have even wondered what we were going to get.
Yeah. You don't need to be a clairvoyant. 13.466 execution. Still not on the 9s for such a simple vault.
She was a bit offline, wasn't she?
Now, this is a score that will tell Murakami whether she's going to be up in the medals. Oh, and the 14, it does put her at the top with just 2 gymnasts to come. She knows she's going to get a medal, and that's the relief on her face and the smile. She doesn't yet know what colour it's going to be.
She did well there, Chris, actually, because she only got a 14-1 in qualification, and I think she thought she'd blown it.
I think she did as well, but her landings were absolutely great, and she's got very high difficulty score, like Biles.
Morgan Hurd, then, the reigning world all-around champion. It's been a valiant effort to try and defend her crown. Now on the floor.
She does have very good tumbling and works hard at the expressive side. Double twisting, double back, makes it look so easy. Another beautiful double straight. Hits all the beats of the music really well, turns straight into this tumble, straight front, full twisting front. Puffing a little bit already, but she'll make this big final tumble, the double pike. Well, she hasn't flickered on landing at all. Well, what a comeback from a disappointing beam, because she really gave that everything, and she didn't flicker at all on any landing. Could not ask for more.
Certainly not. A fantastic final performance from the defending world champion. She scored 13.933 in qualification. She needs 13.933 to go into first place. I think it was maybe a little bit better than qualification. She certainly stuck those landings, and certainly a lot of pressure.
I love that concentration and poise before starting his final routine, and a real final flourish.
Look at that big tumble, the double layout. And actually, she has looks like she's improved the choreography in the routine as well. Not only just the big tumbles, but there you can see the forward tumble, a bit loose in the legs there. But there, into the straight front full twist, nail that. And that's what the judges at Pens are going for. And the last tumble, I think she looked a little bit surprised there as she landed. And it was like, yes, I'm up on my feet.
Is she going to guarantee herself a medal? Craig mentioned 13.933 to shoot to the top with just Simone Biles to come. We're going to have to wait for it, though. is on vault for France again. I've enjoyed watching her throughout the competition.
Santos, 5.4 difficulty. And wraps in. Nice to see a double twist for a change. And there looks to me that there's room there for another half turn. She's such a powerful, explosive gymnast. Look at that, blocks off the top, wraps in, double twist, plenty of power.
She is a very beautiful gymnast, and I think she's worked well today.
Oh, and that has shot her into fourth position, 14.533. But she's upset, isn't she? Oh, Morgan Hurd has gone into the silver medal position, 13.866. Simone Biles to come. No successful defense of her world all-around title. It means Mai Murakami sits top of the leaderboard. Nina Dawal has been pushed out of the medals. And now, all eyes on Simone Biles. The big comeback, the big floor routine to finish with. We saw her sit her landing on vault. We saw her fall from the beam. But surely, a clean routine on floor will put her back to the top. She only needs 13.308 to win.
Well, they've got up in the audience a target score of 13.9. That should be easy for her, but she has to tumble well, stay inside this floor. She has to concentrate like never before. Unleash the power. And out it goes. That's just a 0.1. She can still do it if she focuses and controls all the other landings. It's all difficult stuff. Double straight with the half turn. I love this tumble, full twisting front, into full twisting, double back. Super high leaps. How about this for third tumble? Two somersaults, two twists. Now that really did look easy.
Well, she started a little bit nervy at the opening of the routine. Maybe that adrenaline pumping, but for me, certainly enough to pick up her fourth world title. I mean, that routine was, again, not held back at all, packed with difficulty.
She just had a bit of a moment right at the beginning where she had to fight to control the adrenaline. I think that's more her problem than getting the adrenaline going. But she's got such strength for that final tumble. Like we said, most are happy to start with it. That was a really impressive performance. And although not perfect, I agree, I'm sure will be enough to get the score she needs.
That's the first tumble, the double straight with the double twist, and so much power. Most gymnasts are on the hands and knees, and she bounced back. This is her move, the Biles. Double straight with half turn. She normally connects straight into a leap, and then she had to take a step. So she's definitely been riled during this competition. I don't think it's gone all her own way, but it just goes to prove how much of a gap she has over the rest of the world to have, in her mind, she won't be happy with this performance. This has been a poor performance for her and still come out the world champion.
Yeah, but like we said right at the beginning, that is what she's got. She's so much more difficulty than anyone else that she hasn't really got the same amount of pressure to perform at the absolute optimum. And she'll be relieved, I think, at the end of today.
Well, considering the timeout, considering the kidney stone, things haven't gone smoothly for her this week, but still she's got the difficulty. All part of it, probably an important learning process for her to actually come through a competition like this, make mistakes, but still have to get through and possibly yet still come out on top as she waits to find out whether she's going to have this 4th world all-around gold.
I think great there, Mai Murakami from Japan, to separate the American girls. I mean, that's a great result.
Here it is, and Simone Biles does take the gold, a whopping 15, even with that penalty. And it is gold for Biles for a world record 4th time in the women's all-around at the World Gymnastics. Brilliant Biles, even with the timeout, even with the errors. She is still number 1, and she cannot be beaten in a world competition. Well, Mai Murakami, it must be said, Japan have never had an individual world silver medalist in the all-around either, so something has to be said for her performance. Morgan Hurd loses her crown. Of course, she won it when Simone Biles wasn't there. They make sure she gets in the right position, number 1 on their own podium down there, beaming smiles all around. But wow, I mean, what can you say about Simone Biles? That even with the mistakes she made, she has still come out with the gold.
I think in a way she would have expected this first Worlds back to be a sort of bit of a learning world, and it all just went so much her way at the start that, you know, she would have been coming back to this Worlds with the thought that she wants to win the Olympics again. So she'll learn from it and take from it. But fantastic to see Murakami getting the all-around medal. Quite a history for Japan there, and they've had their troubles as well. And Morgan Hurd, such a delight, really. No tears at losing her world medal, only thrilled to be part of this fantastic USA team.
Are we looking here at a genius and her apprentice?
I don't think she's got quite the dominance that Simone has.
Not a bad person to look up to, though, and learn from, being part of the same team. But American dominance, we saw it in the team events when they came away with the gold once more. But, this is going to be a fabulous scene. So much Japanese support in the crowd as well, but what does it mean? Just look at that. I mean, it is a lifetime of working, isn't it, towards a World Championships like this.
Yeah, the VT that we saw at the beginning of Simone Biles saying that people think you just pop up to an Olympics. Actually, it's a lifetime of work. That says it all. And for Murakami, I mean, she's not a youngster. She's 22. She's done her apprenticeship, her World Championships and Olympics, and stuck in there and worked hard to make sure she's competitive on all areas. Really delighted to see that result.
It certainly is, and that's somebody else who we've been championing for the past couple of years, Christine Murakami. We've just thought, yeah, there's something a little bit different about her. She's a little bit quirky, and just kept chipping away. And you could see the disappointment on her face after that floor routine. She thought she blew it, but she didn't. So brilliant, great to see. The Americans have been split, so there we go.
And still by more than 1.5 marks, Simone Biles, the gold medalist, Mai Murakami, Japan's first silver in a women's all-around final at the Worlds. Morgan Hurd then takes the bronze medal. Fantastic from Nina Dewar in 4th. Now Ellie Downey finishes 11th. Now I make that the joint 5th best result that Great Britain has ever had in the world all-around. So coming back from injury to achieve that, it's fantastic from Ellie Downey. Kelly Sim 19th, so she bolstered her mark with a 13.9 on bars to finish with. On vault, Ellie Downey 14.4, so brilliant for Ellie Downey. She wasn't expecting much coming into this, but the world champion once more, a 4th time. No one in history has ever held 4 world golds in the individual women's all-around, but Simone Biles is the history maker.
She is indeed a history maker, and indeed her legend has been enhanced because she's done all of this after spending 24 hours just before competition in A&E with a kidney stone, the Doha Pearl, she called it. But Beth, that is her 12th world gold medal to equal the great male gymnast Vitaly Scherbo, and she could indeed surpass that. I don't think she's ever possibly had to fight as hard to win one as she did today.
Yeah, it will have been a test of her character today. I mean, obviously, to go up on your first piece of apparatus, which is normally so strong for her, and to take that fall and then having to pick herself back up to go to bars, which is normally her weakest piece, and then heading over to beam and having a fall. But she knew the capabilities going into floor. She knew that she had the potential, she knew she had the difficulty, so she just had to go out and perform. To be honest, those first 2 tumbles are probably the most nervy I've seen her. It's very rare that you don't see her do a jump out of that second tumble.
Well, there was only 1/10 of a mark going into the last piece of apparatus, and there was lots of possibilities being considered, not least by the Belgian fraternity. And Nina Derwell came out, and this was an absolutely beautiful, artistic interpretation. But the debate starts, is it artistry or acrobatics that we reward in gymnastics?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a very different routine to what we just saw Biles doing, with lots and lots of powerful tumbles. She doesn't have that level of difficulty. She uses the dance and the artistry to show herself off, and it is a beautiful routine to watch. She's got the leaps and the jumps, just unfortunately the difficulty's not there, down to the fact she has only got limited difficulty on the tumbles. So here's the first tumble that she uses, and it's the 1.5 into the full twist. Most gymnasts at a senior level will be using that towards maybe the 3rd tumble. So but the actual routine to watch is beautiful, and you can get marks deducted for the artistry, so I can assure you she probably didn't for that.
Well, it was a marvellous piece of skill and indeed theatre, and we're going to see her hopefully take some kind of medal, possibly even gold, in the bars in the coming days. But she finished agonisingly in 4th position, exactly the same position last time as Murakami did. So this really is a huge shot in the arm for Japanese gymnastics. And at one point, however, she thought she might have blown this.
Yeah, this was at the very beginning of her routine, to do a spin and to fall out of it, but then luckily for the whole of the rest of routine, she's got big powerful tumbles and had really precise landings. Here she opens with the double twist, and not even a flicker on that landing. She has her own style, and it's great to see obviously her comeback after the disappointment of last year. 2 years out from a home Olympics, she's going to want to prove herself and obviously be up there in the all-around standings when it comes to their home Olympics.
And she's going to go through something of what you did, actually, towards 2012. She's going to be one of the poster girls going up to her home Olympics.
And obviously you could see the emotion. As soon as she came off, it was almost like that I've made up for last year.
Meanwhile, the defending champion.
Yeah, I mean, obviously she knew she'd made a couple of errors in the team final, so she had to go all out to make sure that she got herself back up into those medals. She has got powerful tumbling, and throughout this routine had very, very precise landings, and that's what was rewarded for this floor routine.
Well, she's only 17. She went to Montreal and took the all-around title last year as a 16-year-old, but she goes home with bronze this time. But without question, the woman of the moment is Simone Biles. Now, after a seated finish on the vault and falling off the beam, I guess we didn't think she'd have much to play with, but the level of difficulty within this routine probably says otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, this first tumble, the double twisting, double straight, very few gymnasts are capable to do that in a training environment, let alone in a World Championship final. She had far too much energy. She ended up rebounding out, and it cost her the 0.1. And then this tumble, normally we see her doing a jump straight out of that. Once she'd got those first 2 tumbles out the way, she sort of settled down a lot more, and you saw the Simone that we're used to seeing on floor.
Well, for all of the drama about the scoring and how close it was, when you tot it up, this is the biggest margin of victory for her in an all-around competition at the Worlds. It turns out it's 1.693 points difference, which is pretty large overall here. But it didn't feel like that going into this floor routine, did it?
No, it felt the most nervous watching her that we have. Normally she's got it sealed by floor. You're not thinking, oh, can she, can't she? I mean, we knew she had the difficulty, so as long as she stayed on her feet, she was going to win that world title. But for the fact that it is her biggest margin to win a world title is incredible. I mean, the fall on beam wasn't just a full mark, it was more than a full mark. So, yeah, had she gone clean around today, she would have been up there with those 4 or 5 marks that we were talking about.
She'll be totally delighted with a 4th world title, clearly, but will there be an element of bittersweet here, or will there be almost a pride that she did come back from those 2 setbacks on the 2 pieces?
I think there'll be a mixture. I mean, we know she's a perfectionist. She loves to perform, and after we saw her interviewed after the team final, she was frustrated and disappointed with that hand down on the pike front. So to have 2 big errors today, she's not used to that, so it'll be interesting to see what her interviews come across like. And obviously she's still got another 4 finals to go, and they need to rest her up because she's literally going consecutive days now.
Well, indeed, and her first apparatus final on the vault, she could indeed surpass Vitaly Sherbo's 12. She's now equal with him in terms of the overall number of medals, and indeed number of gold medals. But if you look back at her dominance on the global stage, this is her competition really since the 2013 World Championships, her world titles. And as we look down this, it is almost mind-boggling. In fact, her coach Lauren Landy said she's a champion, and champions like this come along just once in 100 years. I always feel that we see someone like Tiger Woods, we see someone like her, we really don't appreciate them whilst we have them. We should today.
Yeah, I mean, she is every coach's dream, and she looks like she's a lovely gymnast to coach as well. She's bubbly, she loves her gymnastics, so I can imagine in the training she's great to work with as well, and obviously you can see the camaraderie with her teammates as well.
And funnily enough, talking about camaraderie and the spirit out there seems to be far more of it amongst the different nations now. Was it like that in your day, Beth?
I don't think so. I think it's really nice to see now. You can see the gymnasts are all supporting each other. They kind of congratulate each other after each apparatus, whereas it was very much towards the end of the competition previously. But I think that people are admiring how much training, how much skill and effort you're putting into it now, and I think it's great for our sport.
Now, where does she go from here, apart from into the 4 apparatus finals over the next couple of days? But is it a question of consolidating the skills she has, Beth, or will she be tempted to tinker into even more difficulty?
I mean, obviously you can never tell. That's a conversation for her to have with a personal coach. But for me, it would probably be consolidating, especially with this new vault. It is brand new. It'll be interesting to see whether she uses it in the vault final, having fallen today on it. She'll want to take that world title there. So I think definitely for the next sort of 6 months, she'll be consolidating what she's got. But we know she is training more in the background. And
what about the other nations when they see these kind of feats that she's achieving? Is there a temptation to try and push the boundaries for their gymnasts, or to consolidate and to say, OK, at the moment we are fighting for silver and bronze?
I think it's a mixture. I mean, obviously the personal coaches have got to work with their gymnasts. What are their strengths? What are their talents? Can I push them? Have they got the capabilities? Someone like Nina's coach, they're going to be looking and thinking, she's not the type of gymnast to be doing all of those big tumbles that Simone is doing, so we'll work on the elements to her strengths. So it is very much a decision between the gymnasts and their personal coaches.
We shall see. They're about to receive their medals in a short while, but before we do, let's just bring you up to date with the British women's involvement today. Ellie Downey, 11th in the overall competition in her first back for 18 months, extraordinary achievement, and Kelly Sim in her first global all-around final, 19th. Let's hear from both of them there with David McDade now.
Kelly, in the final, 19th, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it was definitely a fighting competition for me. It didn't start too great with a fall-on beam, but I was happy to just get through, and I really enjoyed, my first all-around final.
And it's the end of a really, really busy and successful year for you, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been a very long year. I haven't really stopped since January, so just to make the all-around final and to go out there and to compete alongside Elle, I couldn't ask for any more. I'm really happy.
And Ellie, we mentioned that it's been 18 months since we've seen you on this stage. You've had an ankle injury, you're just back. How does today's result compare with what you were hoping for before you came in here?
To be honest, I was just hoping for an all-around final, and to be 11th in the world is amazing for me. All the scores were so tight, and looking at the scores, it does give me confidence for next year, knowing that I could be up there with those scores today. So
I was going to say, because with an extra year of rehab on the ankle, which is still not 100%, you could be well up that table come next year.
Touch wood, yes. With my old routines, like my floor is pretty low for me right now, and my beam, yeah, it's looking positive, so I'm excited.
Girls, that's competition over, but Ellie, we're going to see you more tomorrow, aren't we, with Becky's bars final? You're going to be out there on the floor.
Yeah, I'm hoping I would chalk the bars for her and just cheer her on, and I kind of want to be there with her because we've done a massive team effort just to get here, so yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Well, girls, great effort tonight. Congratulations. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
And so say all of us. Great effort indeed, and lovely to see Ellie back. We'll be seeing her sister Becky in the uneven bars final tomorrow. Now here we go, top 8. We're at Chen Li, who's only 18 years of age, and great to see her. Indeed, they do unearth some wonderful gymnasts in China at such a young age. And as we go back to see these flower ceremony and indeed the medal ceremony, I'll hand you back to Chris, Christine and Alison for what is now almost usual business for Simone Biles. She's about to step out for yet another all-around title.
Yes, it's a ceremony she is well familiar with, Simone Biles, but this, we're just seeing Melanie Dos Santos during competition. There were tears, but she's a fine performer and we'll see much more of her as well. We saw a few moments ago Melnikova win the prize for elegance in the women's all-around. Noting Simone Biles' victory margin, we're just looking at it, Craig, 1.693. In fact, the biggest margin of victory that she has ever had across all her 4 world all-around golds.
Quite phenomenal, really, when you put it into context like that. Certainly going into the last piece of apparatus, we're thinking, oh, this is going to be a lot closer. But then to have that big margin of 1.6, yet again, another fall, and she still would have been good enough. So it has been a fantastic competition, and a lot better competition, I think, than we imagined at the start.
Yes, it's certainly been exciting, and actually as the weeks worn on, I mean, the American team looked so dominant in the team competition, but it just shows you when you're doing this level of gymnastics, an error is so easily made that it's not all just a foregone conclusion.
Certainly not. And even Mai Murakami, after a floor routine, you could see the look of devastation from that hiccup early on and thought, that's it, I've blown my chance.
A very proud moment for Mai Murakami. But this, the welcome for Simone Biles. So the gold medal is hers once again. Morgan Hurd won it in 2017 when Biles took a break and lived a little bit of normal life. She said, well, this is almost sort of back to normality for her because gymnastics was everything she lived for through to Rio. And again, now it's her #1 focus and she'll be aiming for Tokyo and the Olympics there. But right now, she has reclaimed the title that she last won in Glasgow 2015. Before that, Nanning 2014. And before that, her first world all-around was Antwerp in 2013. The dominant gymnast, one not just of a generation, but of a lifetime. And we are very lucky to be able to witness her daring and her brilliance. And now the crowd in the arena and everyone watching will salute her. Well, Biles is back with a bang, and there was a flicker of doubt when she sat her landing on vault, but then Christine, the second rotation, she went to the top of the leaderboard, and then despite a twist and a turn, she absolutely stayed there.
Yes, and we really are very privileged to be watching and witnessing such an extraordinary gymnast and such a huge talent, really dominating the world of gymnastics in a way we've never seen before.
Yeah, not only just in gymnastics, one of the top female sportswomen in the world across all sports. I think what she's done is phenomenal and making a real stand. You know, what's happened in America over the past couple of years, just showing that, you know, these things happen, we will rise. But fantastic, great to see.
Yep, she takes her responsibility as a role model very seriously as well. It's her sporting prowess which has made her the talk of the sporting world. And once again, for a record 4th time then, Simone Biles with a world all-around gold medal around her neck. That is now her 12th World Championship gold.
Yep, Simone Biles, simply the greatest female all-rounder in World Championships that we have ever seen. And that underlines it once again today. But we still have 2 more truly golden days to come in Doha. We have no fewer than 10 individual apparatus titles to be claimed over the next couple of days. Starting tomorrow, we've got the men's floor, pommel and rings, and the women's vault and uneven bars. On Saturday, it's the men's vault, parallel bars and high bar, and then it's the women's beam and floor. So always so much to look forward to. And indeed, especially from a British perspective, because tomorrow, Max Whitlock, the double defending champion on the pommel horse, well, he aims once again to, quite literally, take it to the max.
Men's pommel final.
Max Whitlock is the pommel horse world champion. But what a story for this young man. Yeah, Max Whitlock delivers. Oh my word.
Max Whitlock has retained his pommel world title.
And Beth, wouldn't that be something? 3 in a row for Max Whitlock. And he first became the first male world champion 2015 in Glasgow's World Championships and followed it up in Montreal. And he's the top qualifier for tomorrow. What do you feel about his chances tomorrow?
I think he's got a great chance. He was the top qualifier. He went even better during the team final. He upped his difficulty and upped his score. And obviously the pressure that will be there will be from himself. He'll want to prove people that this year, obviously he's had a very up and down year, so he'll want to go out there and prove I am still the best, which, I mean, he is one of the best pommel workers in the world, obviously the best at the moment.
We should explain, after the Rio Olympics, when he took those 2 golds on floor and pommel horse, he decided to change things about considerably and increase the level of difficulty. Now, that has worked to some degree, but tell us about some of the problems he's had in the last 2 major championships.
Yeah, so after every Olympic cycle, they changed the code of points, so he's obviously had to alter his routine slightly. And obviously he took a bit of downtime as well after the Olympic Games and then started really well last year, won the world title. But at the beginning of this year at the Commonwealth Games, he was always saying, I'm looking at the bigger picture. So he tried new routines and unfortunately it didn't quite work. He was beaten out in the Gold Coast and then was working up towards the Europeans in Glasgow, thought the routine would be a little bit closer to being ready and unfortunately it wasn't quite there and he came a cropper in the final. But so far it seems to have been really good out here, so fingers crossed for him for tomorrow.
And the man who effectively took the 2 gold medals from under his nose at the Commonwealth Games and the European Championships has not qualified. Rhys McClenaghan of Ireland is not going to be there tomorrow. That is a distraction that won't be there.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's been a bit of rivalry between the 2 of them this year and he had a bad day in qualification, had 2 falls. But it'll be a huge lesson for him as well, having had such a successful year. Hopefully he'll take the positives from that and move forward. But for Max, I don't think he ever really looks at who else is competing in that final. It's all about what can I do, because you can't control what the other gymnasts are doing in that final. You can only go out and do your performance. He did the 7 in the team final difficulty, so I'm sure he'll go out and do that 7 routine again tomorrow.
I think both of us would say we'd love to see Rhys McClenaghan in that final, definitely, but he's not there this time, and I'm sure he will the next time. But another final we're looking forward to is the vault, because we have Great Britain's Dom Cunningham going in that. He's had a fantastic summer as well, became European floor champion, and his passage into this final in the vault is a bit of a poke in the eye to everyone who made fun of his passion for gymnastics when he was a kid.
Dominic Cunningham from the City of Birmingham Gymnastics Club.
To have that title against my name for the rest of my life now, European champion, there's not many people who can say that, and I'm one of them.
Super control, these big tumbles.
I knew I could do it.
Big triple twist to finish. What a performance!
Dominic Cunningham rising to the challenge.
When my score went high, I was just like, I think I dropped to the floor. I don't even remember so much what I did. I just dropped to the floor and was just like, goosebumps. Hearing the national anthem, I was just like, jeez! It was a madness. It was just, it's what I live for, and I want more moments like that. At the end of last year, pretty much ready to retire, or I was like, this is so hard to keep going. I was always battling to making the teams, but I always just missed out on the team. I was always the seventh person. I was like, this is too hard to keep doing that. Luckily, I turned around and I was like, right, let's do it. I had 5 weeks off and I came back with the most amount of fire inside me, and I was like, yeah, let's go. I set out my targets, Commonwealth Games, European Championships and World Championships. With my training now, where there is happiness, there is success, and that's what I've been trying. Growing up, it was tough, and it's so easy to break a person. There has been times where I'm not scared of someone, but I was always scared of what they'd say in front of other people, and it's so easy for people to latch on. Oh, that's the girl gymnast. You don't want to get grouped up onto, and that's where it started to go. I remember there was one time my mum took me to school, and I just hid in the footwell of the car with a blanket over me because I didn't want to go. I'm only about 9, 10 years old at this time, and I'm like not wanting to go to school because of what people were calling me names, because of what sport I did. But then the whole thing changes, because when I'm walking around on my hands and everyone's like, wow, that's so cool. For a tip for anyone who might still go through those gymnastics like comments, just remember who you're doing it for. When they've got not the best job you can do, handstand backflips for your country. So yeah, just don't listen to people, listen to yourself. I'm out there to bring back medals. It's my first World Championships. I'm gonna be in the deep end, but I'm gonna show through that this little Dominic Cunningham, Great British gymnast, I'm coming through with fire. Europe was a big competition, but the world, we're talking the next level now. So I'm looking forward to it. Bring it on, I'm on it.
Isn't he brilliant, Dom, I must say? And that's going to be on Saturday. Dom will be our last individual finalist of these Doha World Championships. But, you know, you look back from Dom's point of view, Daniel Keatings, Lewis Smith, Max Whitlock, Dan Purvis, these are the guys that have made gymnastics cool for boys in our country. And you can hardly get a space in gyms. All these wee boys want to be like these guys now.
And I think that's great. I mean, obviously, previously they didn't necessarily have the role models to look up to, but now you've got the likes of Max, you've got the likes of Dom, Niall, that these little boys are looking up to and going, I want to be just like them. And it's so great to see Dominic come out the other side of it, because he loves the sport. And like he said in that video, it's remember who you're doing it for. If you enjoy what you're doing, it doesn't matter whether it's gymnastics or any other sport or activity. If they love it, then do it.
Well, he's in a vault final in his first World Championships, so good luck to him on Saturday. A very brief word, can Max make it a third world title?
I think so.
OK, you heard it here first. Lovely. So he's going well. Beth, it's been an absolute pleasure once again to share this with you, and I hope you've really enjoyed it as well, because Simone Biles has proved once again that she is the woman for all seasons. She is a survivor. She was in Teal today. She's making a very big, bold statement, and her talent is there for everyone to see. She's champion again for a very fourth time. But this time she was made to work extremely hard for it. Two of the biggest mistakes she's ever made in international competition, but she's there, a 12th gold medal. I hope you enjoyed it. We certainly loved watching her do it. From us all here, bye-bye.